Good evening. Welcome to SimUFair GT3 Season 4 Round 3. We'll be live in just a few minutes as the server kicks into gear. You'll hear it through the game any minute now. Green light, as we go live onto the server, where we can see hopefully some decent racing.
Green light, give it all you can.
I'm going to give the server a few minutes to catch up with us at the moment, as there are still drivers loading in. Nevertheless though, here we are, Season 4, Round 3, Kyalami. I will go to the game in a few moments. We're just going to we've still got people loading in at the moment, so the game is sort of moving, freezing, as we've also got liveries to load in this weekend as well. Some people have indeed uploaded some new liveries for us, which we'll get to see in just a few moments as we wait for the game to finish loading and wait for those custom liveries to finish loading in. Had some new drivers join the grid now. We'll hopefully have a look at them. We can see from the track map. I'm not going to show you it, but every time the game stops and starts, it is someone loading in, and you see about 3 or 4 cars go yellow on the grid. So, needless to say, it's not me that's being affected. However, it seems that we are. Good to go. So nevertheless, let us cut to the racing of the practices as we go live. We have a broadcasting tool working as well. It's exciting this week. Everything is going as well as it should be, knock on wood. Needless to say though, as I said, we have some new drivers on the grid with us this week. A couple of people just finishing loading in, as you can see. A few cars getting a little bit tricked out by there, but nevertheless, this week, now that we've got his livery loaded, we can actually talk about him properly. It's the 101 BMW M6, which is Hemi Husky. Excuse the loud pit noises. You can't really stand anywhere else that's not safe. Nevertheless, 101 Hemi Husky, he was here as of last week, but as you know, unfortunately, it just didn't happen last week. So, we'll get to see some good racing. Hopefully Hemi is in the mix of that good racing. Coming to us after finishing a live stream for SRO as well. I think it's safe to say Hemi's not yet had a break, so hopefully Hemi's going to be okay tonight. We've got quite a few cars that are actually already out on the grid. For example, number 86 of Fez Fox here. Sporting a brand new livery. Oh, someone else joining in. Sporting a brand new livery, which is the SimUFair Academy, a brand new branch off of SimUFair. Should be opening anytime soon. And he's being joined in the SimUFair Academy livery by car number 131 Nate. Where is he? So car number 131, it's a little bit of a different take on the Academy livery in the sense that it's a proper view of this car. It's an all purple view car for SimUFair Academy, so that's Nate, car number 131. Lamborghini Huracan. So a couple of good designs there. There we are. So Semi-Fair Academy, new branch opening off of Semi-Fair to welcome in new drivers or drivers that just want to get a bit more experience. Nevertheless, though, it's a fantastic looking livery. Brand new to the grid this week, we have, where is it? In P1 already, it's Bongo. Bongo joined Semi-Fair at the beginning of the week. Car number 28 Ferrari. Love the idea of coming to Kyalami with Semi-Fair, so he makes up one of the 37 drivers that are currently on the grid, as we see him go through Cheetah there. And interestingly enough, he holds a 42.5 currently. So look forward to seeing where he goes with that. New to the grid that we didn't get to see last week is Jake Hudson. So he was there for Kyalami, he was there for Indianapolis. Excuse me, but as obviously you're aware, we weren't here for Indianapolis due to techwear issues. There we go, here's Jake Hudson in the number 7 Ferrari. Fantastic looking livery it is as well. You can see the Monster Energy logo on the front of it. As he too comes in towards Cheetah, or sorry, Crocodile, and then into Cheetah, excuse me. So we go through Cheetah there. Being followed by car number 765 at high speeds there. So anyway, he comes into the pits. Quite frankly, I'm not sure what the 765 was thinking at that point, but needless to say, at least Hudson made it back into the pits. Car number 759, whether or not they're running an all black livery, I don't know, but here we go, it's hoop wheels in the Mercedes-Benz GT3. Going anywhere at the moment though, she's parked it and created a yellow flag. There are cars coming around at speed, but she does move, which is a good thing. From KM Academy, we've got number 2 Telephones in the Mercedes GT3 as well. From what I hear, he didn't have a fantastic round at Indianapolis last weekend, so hopefully Kyalami's had a bit more time on it and he can focus and get some more done. Tyan Fox is the next new driver on the grid this week. Literally made it onto the entry list tonight, sporting the very highlighter, bright looking yellow Mercedes-Benz AMG GT3. Car number 55 in the Pro class as well, that's Tyan Fox. So hopefully Tyan can do well and give the other pros a run for their money. Back for some more is car number 62, it's Joker, racing in the Honda NSX Evo. Being followed very closely actually by Bongo there. Both are on a lap, so they're going to follow each other relatively closely. Just behind them is someone who joined Indianapolis as well, who we weren't able to say hello to. He appears on here as CryMCN, or I can't pronounce that. We know him as Chris McNichol. So McNichol is here. First race with us was Indianapolis, where we didn't get to see, unfortunately, but here we are today with Chris in the Audi R8 Evo, I believe that one is the brand new one to the game, as of a couple of months ago anyway. Wishing him all the best. Dolby back on the grids. Did originally sign up in the McLaren 650, but didn't get on with it very well, so he's come back in the Audi R8 as well, but I believe his one might be the slightly older one. So it'll be interesting to see how we get on with the old and the new Audi. We did have that last season in GT3, and also I believe in the AM Championship, which was also live broadcasted by Hemi Husky and Fez Fox, two drivers which you'll see on the grid tonight. Blue E Motorsports Team Principal Suzuka Shark in the number 10 is out on a lap at the moment. He's making his way down through Mineshaft into Crocodiles and then onto the dreaded Cheetah Corner. So here we go then, very quickly he goes through Mineshaft into Crocodile. And then coming up to Cheetah Corner now. Good line so far, very well not to catch the sausage curve on the inside there. That could be a make or break for a lot of people tonight, especially on lap one. Obviously lap one, turn one, where we see Suzuka heading towards now. That's going to be something for everyone to think about. See Suzuka go through a very tight hairpin, which was turn one here, and then into a bit of a weaving complex before heading towards Sunset and then down onto Barbecue. We'll double check that one. I'm not sure if it's Sunset onto Barbecue or Barbecue, which was there, and then onto Sunset, but we'll get that one sorted before the race anyway. Oh. And that didn't affect Suzuka that much, but as you can see, the track's lit up like Christmas as someone else joins the practice server and the game comes to a bit of a stop. It's not affected Suzuka much though, he's still out on a relatively successful lap, regardless to what the time delta says. You can tell he's on a relatively successful lap because he's not binned it yet as he heads back down onto Mineshaft. Following his teammate who's 2 seconds up the road there. It is Rene Otter. Rene's currently working alongside Blue E just to get some experience in the Lamborghini Huracan, which comes through Cheetah very smoothly indeed. And Suzuka comes in for a pit stop practice. It's very good practice. That pit stop is quite hard to get right. It looks relatively simple looking top down on a car like that there, but I can guarantee you when you're driving it first person it's not as simple as it looks. Needless to say, welcome everyone to the YouTube stream. Now that we've got settled and we've got people joining, we're gonna look at maybe getting some drivers into the commentary box to have a word with us since they've had 3 rounds. Just drop the volume very little bit so we can hear cars driving, but we can also hear our drivers more. So let's see who we've got available in the chat. We've only got one person in the chat at the moment, which is Zizi. So we'll pull Zizi up in a minute. Though the funny thing is, the vast majority of the drivers aren't in the voice chat and they're all set to busy and driving. So even if we did tag one of them to come up for an interview, the chances of getting one are not likely. So, needless to say, we'll see if we can grab someone. Let's see what happens there. We've called Suzuka into the commentary box. So no doubt radio message will go out to him somewhere down the line, and he'll pull into the pits and have a break and come and talk to us for a little bit. If he doesn't, then it means I'm going to end up sitting here. I'm going to end up sitting here talking to no one, apart from you lot currently watching in on the stream. Tell me where you're watching from. Tell me what you're liking so far. If cars on a racetrack is your thing, then welcome to SimiFirst GT3 season. Welcome to Kyalami, one of the best tracks in the game, said by a lot of people. I'll tell you what, we'll do something. Oh, wait, no, hold on. We might be able to. I think Suzuka has got the message. So we'll give it a couple more minutes for him to get ready in general voice, and then we will pull him into the commentary box. So here we go into the GT3 commentary box. Comes Suzuka Shark. And here we go, number 10, Suzuka, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to the commentary box. Tell us how your first 3 rounds have been so far, or 2 rounds, excuse me, with Kyalami being 3.
Yeah, I mean, looking at round 1 and round 2, it was not the best. Because in Spa, you know, we had incident, and then we tried to recover in Indianapolis, but
tell us how you.
I had great qualifying there, but was sent to the back.
2 rounds, excuse me, with
but
Kyalami being 3.
Managed to pull a recovery drive, so it wasn't too bad. Right now in Kyalami, I just hope that nothing gets in my way. I just want a clean race for once.
A clean
and
race.
Yeah.
Does such a thing as a clean race exist in SimiFirst?
Depends. If you're lucky, well, there's the APAC series, of course, with a very minimal show up than the main series. It was fairly more clean than what I witnessed the last 2 rounds. But for sure, I hope that I have trust in the drivers that they can do clean racing.
Excellent. And how are your team getting on? Obviously, we're aware that you've got Renee, who's brand new, almost, to GT3 racing. How's she doing?
Well, Renee's doing fine with us in the sister team at MRT, and I've also been looking out for my fellow teammates, so we're all in this together.
Excellent, fantastic to hear. And where do you hope to finish tonight?
To be honest, I think at least a top 5 or 6 finish should be satisfying. But if the podium is in sight, I'm ready to give it a grab.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for coming to talk to us. We'll not keep you any longer, as we have just over half an hour left of practice. So thank you very much for coming, and good luck tonight.
All right. See ya.
See ya. So that was Suzuka, the number 10 Lamborghini Huracan, team principal for Blue E Motorsports. Talking about brand new team member Renee, who's working in collaboration and doing very well indeed. Next up to the commentary box, we are going to have car number... Oh. Well, I did have it in sight, I've now lost it again. We're going to have car number 120, JPEG Fox, who is in a Porsche and has been in a Porsche since the start of the SimiFirst round. So, coming up to commentary box now, we have JPEG Fox. JPEG, welcome to commentary box. How's your season been so far? Hello, JPEG Fox.
Season's been pretty alright so far. The first 2 races could have been better, arguably, with probably lower end of the I guess.
And how have you found racing the Porsche through Spa and Indianapolis so far?
Spa's pretty good. The Porsche is extremely strong at Spa with all the curves and stuff with its grip. And then you have Indianapolis, which is also a strong competition for the Porsche with its not as many straights, and Porsche can pull away on the exits. So it's just up to the straight line speed at the end of the day.
Okay. And how do you feel at Kyalami with it? How's it any different?
Kyalami's pretty good. There's not a lot of pure straights. There's a lot of weaving bends and curves, which is good for the Porsche. It can pull away with it, and from the other cars, get away. Make some space between them.
And how, forgetting that you're driving a Porsche for a minute, how do you find Kyalami, with a lot of people saying it's one of the best tracks there? What do you think?
I've only been driving it a week, but so far it's quickly become one of my favourite tracks on the grid. It's not only a beautiful track, but it's also a lot of fun, a lot of elevation changes, lots of sweeping curves, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun.
Fantastic. Well, as with Suzuka, I'm not going to keep you any longer. I'm going to let you get back to practice and get on with Kyalami. We wish you good luck tonight, and hopefully we can see you rise through that grid.
Sweet as.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you.
So that was JPEG Fox in car number 120, the Porsche GT3 or GTR3, or there's something like that. It's a long name anyway. So needless to say, we've got time for a few more. Let's pick on someone. Let's pick on someone who we didn't think would be here. Where are they? We're going to give a random name now into the chat. A couple of them knew they were coming up for a bit of a chat with us, but most of them were thinking they were going to be left alone to race tonight. So nevertheless, we are going to add somebody randomly who's on the grid. Let's see who we can pull. As we talked to him earlier, you can see him out on the track there. It's JPEG Fox coming through, heading down onto Sunset at the moment, car number 120. No, he's not on Sunset, he's heading onto Sunset, my apologies. And whilst we wait for one driver to respond, we may have one of our pro drivers come up as well, the car number 62, which is Joker, and coming into the box now. Here he is, car number 62 is Joker in the NSX. Hello Joker, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly, Snowy. How you doing, man? It's been a while.
Yeah, not bad, mate. How are you doing?
I'm very good, I'm very much looking forward to this race.
Missing the nights where you used to turn up for the stewards events and take 3 hours to make decisions, eh?
Yeah, I gotta say, you know, because during those nights I used to drink coffee. Now I'm not drinking so much coffee. It actually helps me sleep a bit better at night.
Well, that's always good to hear. How have the first 2 rounds gone for you?
Oh, mixed bag. It's been a bit mixed bag. I've had unfortunate incidents in both first laps for both events, but managed to, gain my way up, recover, and a lot of good racing in this series. That's what I like about this community.
Do you feel that since the last GT3 season, have you seen some of the maybe newer drivers improve a lot more than what they used to be?
Oh yeah, definitely. A lot of people have improved, and people like, for example, Azure. I remember that, he wasn't slow, but now he is super quick, and it's actually quite a bit scary. So I do see him as a bit of a target,
Absolutely. What about our brand new drivers that have joined the grid? How do you think they're getting on?
Very well, considering, this is a big grid. It's not easy to race with so many people. You have such a spread of ability, and even people's in the M categories, they're doing really well with blue flags and everything. It's been a joy to see.
And how do you find the NSX? Was it a car that you always knew you were going with, or was it something that took a lot of experimenting before picking that one?
I've had my tries with the NSX. For RCI's Night Owl, for one season I took the NSX. Didn't really like it, but then I heard that it got upgraded secretly to the Evil model. So I just wanted to give it a go, and I gotta say, it's such an easy car to drive. It's got a brilliant traction control. It's almost like the Aston. You just can plant your foot and the car just goes. Doesn't faff about too much. And you have the benefits of a mid-engine car without any of the drawbacks of the snappiness and everything. It's actually quite good. The only thing that I seem to be lacking is a bit of straight line speed that the old model used to have.
Would you say it was a good car for beginners?
Yeah, definitely. It's especially if you're new to the mid-engine genre. Well, now you have the new Audi R8 Evo 2, which is also very good, but I think that the Honda is a bit more stable, a little bit more friendly.
Fantastic to hear. Well, we'll not keep you any longer than necessary. Thank you for coming up and talking to us. We may have to catch up with you later on in the series.
It will be a pleasure to be back.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Joker. Car number 62, the NSX.
Thank you, and good luck.
Thank you. You too. And so that was Joker, car number 62 in the Honda NSX Evo, talking about how it is a very nice car to drive now after it's had a few little bops and whatnot. So nevertheless, we'll see how Joker gets on tonight. Very capable driver in whichever car you give him anyway. And we'll look forward to keeping eyes on. We have just under half an hour left. Just under half an hour left of the practice session. And I wonder if we should grab one more driver. I'm looking for a driver. I can't see her on the grid yet. Maybe she's not doing Kyalami this week. That's okay. We will get one of our newer drivers, one of our drivers who joined the season. First ever race was Spa 2 weeks ago with Simufair. And we'll see if we can get some comms out to her to come and talk to us for a little bit based on how her round 1 and 2 went. It's a grand total of 40 cars on the grid tonight. Very high number of cars indeed. Hopefully all 40 cars can play nicely coming through lap 1. give it a few more minutes just to see if Rene is going to come up and have a word with us. Car number 521. You can see her in the picture at the moment, working in collab with Blue E Motorsports. Nevertheless, here she is in the commentary box for the first time in her first ever Simufair GT3 season. It's Rene. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. How's your season been so far?
It's been alright. To be honest, Spa was a very unexpected podium considering well, it's my first ever event into online sim racing, and also the fact I span out a bit at the bus stop, but you take a podium any day, do you?
That's fair enough. How was Indianapolis for you? We didn't really get to see what was going on there.
I actually took it off because I wasn't feeling too well. Yeah, I wasn't feeling well that weekend, so I decided to take it as a drop round and not participate.
Ah, fair enough, fair enough. And leading up to this weekend at Kyalami, have you done much practice here, and how are you finding it so far?
I've not done a lot of practice. I've been very busy the past week with other commitments and work. But I've raced before, like a bit on Kyalami, but I quite enjoy it. It's a few tricky turns here and there, especially Cheetah. But I'm feeling quietly confident.
Excellent, that's good to hear. And you've gone with the Lamborghini Huracan GT3. What made you choose that car?
To be perfectly honest, it's the only one I had a custom livery for, and I genuinely couldn't be bothered to make another one.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, but I quite like the handling of it. It is a bit snappy here and there, but it's manageable.
And what made you what made you make the decision to collaborate with Blue E Motorsports?
It's more of the fact of I'm not very experienced with Assetto Corsa Competizione, and I know Suzuka very well. They've participated and won the championship in the silver class in Super Trofeo. So I asked them, is there a collab, etc., etc., and they were on board with it. So that's how it basically happened.
Excellent. Well, I'm not going to keep you any longer then. We have 25 minutes left in practice, and hopefully we see you push your way up there in the AM grid and the overall grid. So good luck tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was Rene. So 25 minutes left on the grid. I'm not going to pull every driver we have on the grid tonight. But we certainly could do with a few more being up here. There's certainly a few that would probably want to be up here in chat. But we've had a few from the silver, one from the pro, a couple from the AM class. And with Rene there, we thought we'd catch her while she was trying to hide, but we can always catch a couple more before we go into our qualifying session in just under 25 minutes time. We'll try and have a look for some drivers that are probably not out racing laps at the moment. Let's see who we can pick on. Put an announcement out to a couple of the drivers, see who wants to come up and chat, see who doesn't want to come up and chat. Needless to say, it's not a forced thing from our drivers. We do appreciate the fact that they would rather get on and practice driving rather than sitting here and talking stuff and things when they could be doing the stuff and things. So unfortunately that is a no from Vesfox due to putting together the last few bits from the week's work that he's been doing, sporting the Simufair Academy livery. They're probably doing a few final preparations to get ready for qualifying. But needless to say, we wish him all the best tonight at Kyalami in the McLaren 720S. Someone else who's back for some more, one of our controller drivers, if not the only controller driver, I can't remember, but it's Grim in the 115 Porsche. Grim's been doing extremely well in the silver class tonight. Well, not just tonight, over the last 2 weeks as well at Spa and Indianapolis. See JPEG Fox just coming into the shot there, followed closely by Joker. And then finally Grim as they make their way down to down up onto Mineshaft. See if we can push a few more drivers into coming up and talking to us before we go into the serious racing that is qualifying. May even be able to pull one of the stewards that's joined in the racing series tonight. It's funny, isn't it? All the pro drivers seem to be the shyest out of everyone. It's the silver and AM class. It's me. Goodness. It's the silver and AM class that seem to want to get up here and talk, but the pro drivers have suddenly gone all shy. We may possibly have a couple more. One of our silver drivers and fellow stewards. And new to the grid pro driver as of Indianapolis anyway, but we'll see what happens. As I said, these drivers do put a lot of time and effort into practicing, so we can understand if they don't want to come up and talk. Just whilst we get the last comms out to the last few drivers to take some interviews. First one to come up to the commentary box. Here he comes now. It's Hemi Husky in the BMW M6, currently number 5 on the grid in the 101 BMW M6, the Hem6. There we go, Hemi. How are you doing tonight?
The meme 6. What this
the
thing
meme
is.
6.
We're running on about, give or take, 3 or 4 hours of sleep from SRO, so this race is going to go fantastically. But you know, it's just regular things. It's going to be certainly a difficult race. Some some new names have come up, and a lot of cars that are very, very strong here. You know, your Porsches, the Aston Martin, Audi, Ferrari, all within that top 5. And even looking outside of that, you can't discount the people who have a little bit better race pace than they do quali pace. So it's going to be a difficult one. This car is not suited to this track. If I take the magical setup that I've got on it off, you lose a whole second a lap. It kind of shows how bad it is.
And what, given that you said that about the BMW, why didn't you come in your famous Bentley this time round?
Because if I drive the Bentley, then I feel like I have to do well because I know it so well. I figured, you know what, let's pick something different, have a bit of fun. It's my first time back racing in, you know, a number of months. Hey, let's just pick the M6. I drove it once in a Night Owl Championship, and the speed is hilarious. It's quite scary when you have a McLaren in front of you coming down mineshaft. You can realise that you almost run into the back of them by the bottom of it, and the straight line, you know, at the front of Kyalami, you're definitely going to be, you know, annoying people down the straight of that. That's really what I'm here for, is just to have a bit of fun and make loud turbo noises.
That's fair enough. Well, I tell you what, thank you very much for turning up to talk to us for a few minutes. We do have another driver patiently. I say patiently, we do have another driver waiting, so we will wish you all the best for tonight at Kyalami in the BMW.
Don't worry, you'll see me in the wall.
That's great. Thank you very much for talking to us. Ladies and gentlemen, that was 101 Hemi Husky in the BMW N6. Next into the box, we did manage to get hold of him. Coming into the commentary box now, very famous at Kyalami for saying, I'm going to do it again. It is the number of which I have forgotten, of Nate. Hello, Nate.
Thanks, you can't even remember my number. What kind of commentary are you?
Brilliant. How are you finding?
It's like, what's the number? Oh, gee, do you even know who I am, old man?
How's Kyalami going for you?
Mixed bag. I like the track. I really do like the track, but I'm just not fast here, so I'm just gonna try and do the best I can with what I've got. Aim for a good result in silver, and hope I don't get caught up in other people's incidents like the last time I was here.
Great. And what makes you not fast here at Kyalami?
Skill issue.
Brilliant. And what made you go with the Lamborghini Huracan this time round?
I was forced into it by my teammates.
Brilliant. And how do you
I like it. Like, it sounds good. It does sound good. And the more I drive it, the more I get used to it. So it's yeah, like I said, a mixed bag. I've sort of found the corners it hates, which is all of them, and the corners it likes, which is none of them. And I just need to try and not die through mineshaft and sunset.
And why is barbecue such a problem?
Barbecue. Oh, do you know what? Last time I was there, you know, everyone's out on the corner with their barbecues out, cooking food. I was like, I want some of that. So I parked up twice and went and got some.
Excellent. Did you find after that? Did you find going through barbecue a little bit different? Did you do anything differently to handle it better?
Yeah, I went slower. That was pretty much it.
Great.
There's not much else you can do. It's just because it's like a weird, like, crested corner. Like, if you catch the inside curb, it just really unsettles the car. And I always catch the inside curb, so I forever unsettle the car. But if you run wide, you just run off on corner exit. So it's just a problem corner.
That's fair enough. And final question from me: who's your main rival in silver?
I don't have rivals. I'm not the kind of person who, like, sets a target and aims to beat them. Like, there's no one in here that I sort of sit there and look at and go, do you know what, if I can beat them, I'll be happy. I just turn up to hopefully have some good racing.
Fantastic. Well, I'll let you go there since we only have a quarter of an hour left of free practice. Thank you very much for coming up to talk to us.
Thanks for having me.
Good luck. Excellent. That was car number 131. You can see in your screen now in the Simufair Academy livery number 2, Nate. So with 14 minutes left, we are going to watch Nate out on track for a little bit, and I am going to take a quick few minutes break before we get into qualifying. But needless to say, thank you very much for all the drivers that popped in to speak to us tonight. We may pull some more drivers in after the race, although I'm not sure. I've got a swear button to cover up the results of after the race. You never know, some of the drivers might talk a little bit freer, in which case we may have to wait until next week. But nevertheless, I will be right back as we watch Nate go on an outlap of Kyalami. See you in a minute. And I am back, and here we go then with 7 minutes left of free practice. You're currently watching Nate go round the track. Just over the start finish line, he goes there. So we'll cut to some other drivers now, some drivers that we've not quite seen yet. In the very colourful number 38 Jaguar, just heading down through Sunset now, is Dipping Sauce, or Dip as we know him. Up to a full 40 drivers on the grid now, and we can see Dip here just after barbecue, heading on up towards Mineshaft. Very colourful livery designed by Skylar Vixen in the 660 Honda, who we'll jump to in a minute, currently racing for KM. We can see Dip here just coming onto Mineshaft now. There's only a couple of Jaguars in the season, so we've got Dip in the Jaguar, and we've got car number 54, the black and orange Jaguar. Both drivers here have said that straight line speeds for the Jaguar are fantastic, but cornering has been a little bit challenging, so they've had to work a little bit harder than usual to working a little bit harder than usual to make it get round the corners at speed. Denak is on an out lap at the moment, so hopefully when it does come to qualifying we can see him put in some decent qualifying laps in the AM class. He's being followed there by Joker. You can see on the little relative in the bottom left corner the drivers that are behind and ahead of Dip. So if the number is orange and above Dip, Denak, excuse me, if the number is orange and above Denak, they are ahead of him. If it is that little blue colour and below Denak in that list, they are currently behind him. What you will see in the race as well is the names of the drivers change colour. So if they're orange overall, they'll be ahead of Denak, and if they're blue, they'll be a lap down on Denak. So with 40 drivers on the grid at the moment, we may or may not see some blue flags. Blue flags here are a gentleman's reminder to the drivers to make way for the faster cars. But unlike F1, it is a case of you don't have to dive immediately out the way, you just don't impede the faster driver. A rule which has been seen as challenging for some of our drivers, in the sense that where do they live to let that driver by? Can they let that driver by? And how long is it really going to be before they're found to be impeding that faster car? So as much as in one line it can be a very simple rule, it's also quite a complex rule for GT3 racing. Whereas in Formula 1, for example, if you're shown a blue flag, you must get out the way. I'm not sure what the constraint is for getting out the way in Formula 1, but I don't really concentrate on it since this is GT3 racing, completely different racing from Formula 1 racing. Having said that, for those of you that joined us earlier in the year, you would have seen part of our Formula 1 Championship run commentated on by Plasma. That championship actually went very well, however was pulled off to one side because of the new Formula 1 game launching. So I have a feeling that once things are finalised for Formula 1 2022, you may see Simufar back on the grid with an F1 championship. Here comes Denak now, just alongside not Fezfox, excuse me, that is Menos in the other Simufar livery. So not an Academy livery this time, just a standard full-on Simufar livery, car number 139, which is a McLaren 720S, and he lets Kestrel by, who is on a lap at the moment. Menos currently running in P25 out of 40, but this is practice and there are 3 minutes left. I have a feeling Menos will be doing a few correction laps just to get that setup finalised. And we wish him all the best for Kyalami. Now, the driver that we mentioned, who we've not actually been to see yet, is another Honda driver, number 660 of Skylar Vixen, representing KM. Skylar is the livery designer for all the KM cars that turn up to the grid both here and at Racing Club International, of which KM have a team entered into the Endurance World Challenge. Needless to say, although she drives under the KM tag, tonight she is very representative of herself, as she is currently on a lap heading down towards Cheetah. Let's see how well she can put the Honda through Cheetah. We saw Joker go through, took it very, very safely, very easily. And Skylar's almost done the same, but then comes in for pit stop practice. Very good lesson to learn from Skylar doing that pit stop practice actually, is get the car slowed down well before coming into the pits to save yourself from getting any penalties from the game. It can be a bit of a slap on the wrist getting an in-game penalty for speeding in the pits, as most of these drivers will tell you that they have found out. A lot of people sat in the pits now. Still no livery loaded for Hoot there in the Mercedes, so nevertheless, P32 at the moment in the Mercedes-Benz, but she's got a couple of minutes, 1 minute left to get a flying lap in. It's a 44.1 at the moment, although it was a 44.8, excuse me, at the moment, although it was invalid. There will bring the time relative up again, so same as it worked when it was down in the bottom left. So 26 seconds left of this 1 hour long free practice session. To those of you that have just joined the YouTube channel to watch live, welcome to Simifair. Welcome to its main GT3 season. We're on our 4th season so far, and we've been to Spa and Indianapolis, and we're now at Kyalami. Out on the grid in KM's Academy livery is number 2 Telephones in the Mercedes-Benz GT3. This is this older model. You can tell by the front grid there, the front grid on the newer model Mercedes. If we have a look at Hoot, who is out in the moment, you can see it's a much bigger grid compared to the older Merc. And here's Telephones now going down into Sunset and then into Barbecue. Very bright yellow on that black and yellow car, so hopefully people will see that it's Telephones and that he is an Academy driver. And we wish him all the best tonight in Kyalami. His first race ever in ACC and with us was at Spa 2 weeks ago. Certainly a case of out the pan into the fire, going into Indianapolis and now Kyalami as well. Done well so far to stick with it, although when he first started he did come in the Audi. From what I gather, he didn't really like the Audi, so he's switched to the Mercedes. And hopefully we can see him push up through the AM grids and get some better times. And there he goes through Cheetah there, very smoothly through Cheetah as well. And he's being followed currently by Plasma, the number 12 Porsche, who would have been out on a lap. So this will be Telephone's lap at a 1:46.
Green light, give it all you can.
And here we go for qualifying then. So, needless to say, the first cars out on the track will be our AM class, and Skylar is straight out the grid, straight out the pit box, down onto the start finish straight and into turn 1 for an out lap. Closely behind her is Jasper, followed by Sephi in triple 2 Aston Martin, and behind her is Jinful, also sporting a KM Academy livery. And following them as well is the black and orange Jaguar of the 54, which is Denak. And then Ruby Kitsune has made her own custom livery for the McLaren. Car number 43 there. Fantastic looking livery it is as well. Very, very bright. Well, very shiny at least. Very bright. The purple design at the back there. Looking very good indeed. Hopefully she can do well tonight at Kyalami. And there's Gig as well in the number 41 Audi R8 Evo. We've had a bit of a spin-off already from Jin. He's not quite got barbecue right there. That's going to be a bit detrimental to his lap. So we'll see if he continues on or whether or not he takes the pits. He does have 10 minutes to put in a flying lap. There is also a no slow zone implied here in Kyalami as well, just I believe before the start finish straight. Just behind Jinful there you can see ZZ in his famous black and yellow Porsche. A bit bunched up there as they're on the grid, but needless to say, Skylar is the first one across the start finish line to put in a lap. She's got all the space in the world, to breathe, with nothing behind her, nothing in front of her that she has to focus on getting past. So she's got the absolute full track ahead of her to do as well as she can in her 7.5 minutes remaining. And here she goes down through Barbecue Corner. Looking so good, so far so good. Still again a very clear track for Skylar. Very lucky to get out there ahead of the rest of the pack. And here she comes onto Mineshaft. Onto Mineshaft, down into Crocodiles. So far so good, very smooth lap so far, but this is the corner that will make or break it. It's Cheetah. Little clip on Cheetah there, but she's got control of the car. She comes round the final corner now to head for the start finish straight. So for AM class, she will set the time of a 1:43.7, very, very good for the AM class. So she holds P1 in AM at the moment. However, that is very quickly beat by Jasper in car number 223, who does a 1:43.3, marginally better. We've got Geeks in there with a 1:43.8. Sephi comes in with a 1:45, although Denak pushes her down a position with a 1:44.222. I could almost say that was taunting the 222 Aston Martin of Sephi. I wonder where she'll go. JPEG Fox comes into P1 for AM class with a 1:43.065. Absolute belter of a lap from the number 120 who you heard from earlier in the stream. We'll see who else can push people down. Wolfen has come in at P5, setting a 1:44.2, pushing Danak and Sephi down. Slowbird is in there with a 1:46.5. Slowbird, the last of the 3 Jags on the track. Very nice looking livery indeed for Slowbird. Hopefully she can put in a better time there. She is currently up on her time, but it's up to her to push constantly. JPEG Fox still holding P1 for the AM class then with a 1:43.0. Jasper's in P2 and Skylar's in P3. Geeks is in P4 with a 43.8. Hoot Wheels is pushed into P5, pushing Wolfen down by setting a 144.0. Telephones is up there in P9 with a 146.5. A valiant effort from Telephones in the Mercedes-Benz. He's got plenty of time to set another lap. He's currently up on his time at the moment. Hopefully he can push and be quicker as he heads off down into Sunset. Jake Hudson in P11 for AM class at the moment with a 146.9. It's Zar there. He's pushed all the way up into P4 with a 143.6. So most of the AM class sticking very close together. Jasper has pushed JPEG Fox down with a 142.9 in qualifying. There's a phenomenal lap from Jasper. And the Blue E Esports and the Blue E Motorsports team will be celebrating that probably a little bit prematurely, but needless to say, there are plenty more laps to come in. Ruby Kitsune comes in with a 148 as a couple of the drivers seem to come together. What are you doing? Not holding your brakes? Whoa, that was a near miss from one of the drivers there. Luckily, I believe that was Cheetah claiming its first victim. So we have a few drivers in there. Wolfen is coming out for another go at it. Jake Hudson has retired to the pits for now. There is still some time left. Ruby Kitsune is up on her time at the moment, so maybe she can push past Jake to get a better time. Looking back up at P1, Jasper Fox still holds the P1 position, and JPEG Fox is pushing to try and, oh dear, Jasper Fox loses it. Blimey, that was a big hit for Jasper. I'm wondering if he'll reside to the fact that he's done there, or whether or not he'll come out and push for another lap. Meanwhile, up very much on his time is the 59 of Zar. 1.1 seconds up. He'll push across the line at a 42.5, pushing Jasper down to P2. Now I wonder, there we go, Jasper is back out to respond to that, and hopefully he will respond with a quicker lap. But that was an absolute belter of a lap from the 59 Aston Martin of the RK9 team's principal, Zar K9. JPEG Fox still in P3 at the moment, but looking to set a better time as he comes down into turn 1 then. This is the last 2 minutes left for the AM class to put in the best that they physically can. Whilst on there, Skylar Vixen doing very well to hold P4. At the moment she is out to give it another go. Denak is down in P5. Fantastic effort from Denak so far. The 43.6. Ruby seems to have lost it at Barbecue. Nope, not at Barbecue. Just before sunset. Telephones has managed to push up and take Jake Hudson's position. Still keeping a 146.5. I believe he's on an invalid lap though, so unfortunately that lap there would have been a 47. So he's got some time to make it up, and hopefully making it up is something he can do. Sefi is down in P9 for AM class with a 144.5 still. Bit of an invalid lap at the moment, which is a bit of a shame. However, she's at the end of the lap. She's still got time to make another lap happen. Although come 20 minutes, the silver class will be leaving that pits at speed. I believe we'll be able to see some of them maybe lined up. That's interesting. So no one moving out to line up yet for coming out. There's 30 seconds left for the AM class to put in a lap. And it's Nate that will go and line up to leave the pits. Zar still holding P1 there. And it will be any minute now when the announcement will come out that the silver class can legally leave the pits for this session. You've got Cafe there. Cafe as well? Oh no, that is Grim, excuse me. Number 115, Grim. And there we go, the silver class all come out at once onto the track as some of the AM class come round to finish their last laps. So this is it. This is the silver class's chance to play the AM Championship. The AM class, excuse me, now have to finish their time off and return to the pits safely without impeding these quicker drivers. So Grim leads the silver championship pack out onto Kyalami. A couple of the drivers there just weave very cautiously to get those tyres warmed up. It's a little bit cold at the moment considering the time of day. Behind Nate there is Menos, Suzuka and Kestrel, followed by Deeds, Anchor and Dip. And whilst we come on to the opening laps for silver, we can see a few of the AM class are actually still out on a lap, although at this point, yep, so Skylar Vixen pulls over. Jinfilf now should be thinking about pulling over, although he is finishing a lap, and what a lap it's going to be as well. Oh, bit of a freeze there in the game, but Jinfilf does put in a better time, but didn't move on the graphic. Never mind, needless to say, he returns to the pits. ZZ comes across the line as well. He doesn't better his time, but he'll also return to the pits now after finishing his lap. Menos seemed to have returned to the pits there, so we should soon see some cars putting in some laps. So here we go, we've got Deeds in the 757 McLaren starting off on a flying lap at Kyalami. Let's have a look and see how he does. So here we go, this is what it looks like for our drivers, all the way down into turn 1, hard on the brakes, on a very tight hairpin. They're into a very windy chicane there, smooth so far from Deeds. Still valid, it looked a little bit wide there, but he's making time up currently as we head through to Sunset. Very smoothly through Sunset, Deeds goes, and then on to Barbecue Corner. Patiently through Barbecue, it's lost Deeds a little bit of time there, but he is safe. So far so good from Deeds, slowly but surely building up the time. He took that corner much better than he did last lap. The time is creeping up ever so slowly as he comes down towards Crocodile. Very slow corner indeed, and here we go, creeps up to Cheetah. This is what it looks like from first person, very smoothly through Cheetah indeed. Down into the final corner before heading on to the start-finish straight. Very smooth lap indeed from Deeds, and he does well there to push all the way up to P3 in silver class with a 1:42.5. So that was Deeds. Anka, meanwhile, in the BMW M4 has pushed into P2 in silver with a 1:42.1. But Grim in the 115 Porsche, our controller racer, has pushed into P1 for silver with a 41.6. Absolutely phenomenal lap from Grim, as he's actually still pushing on and bettering his time. Paula Brady pushes Anka down by 1 in the Audi R8. This is Paula's first race with us this season, but not first race overall with Simifar, so fantastic time to see so far from Paula, and we look forward to seeing what she can do for the rest of the session tonight. 5 minutes left for the silver class to put in a good time. P1 is Grim, P2 is Paula here, and P3 is Anka. Blade pushes into P4 with a 1:42.4. And Deeds holding on to P5 at the moment with his 1:42.4. However, up massively on his lap time in the Ferrari is Kestrel for Silver Class. He's currently 1.4 seconds up on his time now, and he's coming round the final corner heading towards the start-finish straight. Let's see where he can put himself. He comes in all the way up to P2 with a 41.4. Not quite as fast as Grim there, but a fantastic effort from him as he continues on to try and push better. So Paula will be in P3. However, she is up on her time at the moment as Anka pushes up to P3 in the BMW M4. Still yet to set a time at the moment is Dip, although that is him just set a time. He's pushed up into P14 in total, which is P10 I believe in Silver Class. Paula then, as we can see on the screen here, comes through Crocodile. She's lost a little bit of time. Excuse me, not Crocodile. Sorry, I was looking at the map upside down. Coming down into Sunset, chasing Dip currently. Here she goes through Sunset, making a little bit of time up there. She goes, sweeps through into Barbecue. Very clean indeed coming from Paula as she pushes that car clinically round the track. I've been told when previously trying the Audi myself, you've got to know what you're doing with the car in order to get the best out the car. It's not one that you can just aim at a corner and hope to catch on the way out, because it won't happen. You've got to know exactly what you're doing with that car. And Paula here is showing fantastic effort so far in the Silver Class in the Audi R8. Here she comes through Crocodile, following Dip very closely. Oh no, and she catches the outside curb, and there she goes off to a spin and into the pits. She's got 2.5 minutes left to have another go at it. Menos, in the meantime, is down in position 9, I believe it is, for Silver Class. P10 overall. Currently holding at a 1:42.7, although very much up on his time by half a second as he comes through Barbecue there. That was another bit of a spin from Paula. We hope she's okay. But back to Menos, who's just under half a second up on his time as he heads down through Mineshaft onto Crocodile. A little bit bumpy there from Menos. It's cost him a bit of time, but he's still up on his time, so nicely through Crocodile corner onto the illustrious Cheetah. Excellent through Cheetah. And through the final turn onto the start-finish straight. Building up a little bit more time there. His last time was a 1:42.7. He now pushes up to a 1:42.5, but unfortunately it doesn't change his position. There's 1 minute left for all the Silver Class to put in a good time. Speaking of which, Suzuka has pushed into P5. And is very happy about that indeed, with BBN8 or Nate pushing into P6. Both of them pushing Blade Wolf down to 7th as they follow each other whilst on a clean lap. Dean's still not able to push up any further, but he is out on a flying lap at the moment. There's 40 seconds left for the drivers to complete their final laps. Grim at the moment holds P1 for the Silver Class at a 41.087. Absolutely crazy times for these drivers. He may potentially get another lap out of this. He's got to make it across the line in 20 seconds. 20 seconds. Menos had a bit of a spin out there. We'll see where Grim is. He's on Crocodile at the moment. There's 5 seconds left before the Silver Class come out. And Grim heads towards Cheetah. You can see it there, that yellow curb. smoothly through Cheetah. Grim goes, he cuts the lawn a little bit and unfortunately invalidates his lap. Good choice to make there by coming into the pits, although it's not stopped Kestrel from having a go. Kestrel though not able to set another lap as the pro class have now all come out the pits to start their flying laps. Nate also comes in as well. Deeds is on a flying lap still. There's every chance that he could potentially push up a little bit further as he comes through Cheetah there. A little bit wide from Deeds on Cheetah there, but he's kept it clean either way. And he comes across the line to set a 1:42. There, sorry, a 1:42.1. It doesn't unfortunately push him up any higher. Dip has also not managed to push up any higher. A bit of a dangerous place to pull over there, but nevertheless, that is your silver class with Grim, Kestrel and Paula in 1, 2 and 3. Nevertheless, out on track at the moment is our pro class, and we see Bongo there, Danny in car number 44. Aston Martin number 44, Dolby is out there in the Audi. Fez Fox in the number 86 McLaren 720, sporting the Simifor livery. Hemi Husky in the massive BMW M6, car number 101. You almost can't see the track from that BMW. I wonder how he's going to handle Cheetah. Or is it going to be a case of Cheetah will have to handle him? Just behind him is Snooty in the 48 BMW M4. And Dolby's had a bit of a spin-off just before Crocodile, but he's got going again, which is good. Plasma's got a really nice clear track ahead of him then as he starts on his first flying lap in the Porsche number 12. And just behind him is Chris McNichol in the 632 Audi, followed by Bongo in the 28 Ferrari. Some of these drivers that we've seen have indeed put in some phenomenal lap times during the practice sessions, so we will definitely look forward to seeing that. And a car I seem to have missed somehow. I don't know how I missed it, but it's the 141 Lexus of Eris. I didn't see Eris in practice, so I'm wondering if it turned up just as qualifying started, but it was able to get in a flying time at least. So there we go. Car number 141 is KM's own driver, Eris. I believe with a slightly different livery to when we last saw it. Nevertheless, though, a very colourful livery. As you can see, most of these drivers, if not getting someone else to do it for them, they do a great job at it as well. As you can see here, as the pro class start their flying laps, patient drivers, very patient drivers waiting there. But let's crack on with it. The pro class have now started their flying laps, and I believe Fez Fox is going to be changing something or other. So Plasma has set his first lap at a 1:41.087, the exact same as Grim, who is a silver class driver in the Porsche as well. It's very interesting to see from Plasma. I'm wondering if that was a good banker lap and Plasma was using that to gauge how much quicker he can be. Needless to say though, 5 minutes left of this session. Bear with me 1 minute, everyone. Excuse me there. Right, 5 minutes left of this session, and Plasma looks to push up and take the equivalent fastest lap time. It's showing here that both Grim and Plasma are lit up for the fastest time, which I said previously was a 1:41.087. Cafe here is on a lap at the moment. He did set a 1:41.2, but he's currently nearly a second up on that. Look at him sweep through Cheetah. This is almost as if the corner didn't exist. Over the start-finish line, Cafe goes then. Where's he going to go? And he's immediately into P1, pushing Grim and Plasma down. He sets the first 140 of the qualifying session. There's 4 minutes left to go. Can someone else answer to Grim and Plasma? Josiah's the next one down, but it's Bongo that will set a 1:41.027. So far so good. Plasma may come out for another go at it. Hemi Husky's in P5 with a 1:41.1. Josiah in the purple Mercedes is in with a 1:41.1 as well. And Snooty down in P7 at the moment on a 1:41.3, although making time up gradually. I look forward to seeing where he can put himself. Joker is on a 1:41.5 and able to push past some of the silver drivers, although needless to say he's only got 3 laps under him at the moment and 3 minutes left to do some more. So let's see what can happen. Fez Fox down in P12 currently at the moment, but he is on a flying lap. He sits on a 1:41.6 with Dolby on a 1:41.6 as well. Azure Go on a 1:41.7, although nearly over half a second up as he approaches Cheetah Corner. Smoothly through Cheetah Corner he went as well, and down he comes into the final turn before going across the start finish straight. 600ths up on his previous time, which will give him a 1:41.172, pushing him all the way up into P7. Brilliant lap from Azure. 2 minutes left to go. We'll see what he can do on the grid. Dolby moving over there to give him the space that he needs to be quicker. Doesn't seem like Azure has gotten away very quickly out of that corner, but we'll see what happens there. He's massively down on his time. We'll have to see what happens there. Chris McNichol down in P8 with a 1:41.172, the exact same time as Azure. Snooty answering with a 1:41.3 at the moment, although there is everything to play for. Cafe is still holding P1 with Bongo in P2. Bongo a little bit up on his time at the moment. Possibly not enough yet to push Cafe down into P2, but he is still in Sector 1 at the moment. That is Sunset, you can see him going through there. Down into Barbecue. Just behind Chris McNichol. Possibly to take a bit of a toll on Chris McNichol. He is closing the gap. Although having said that, Chris is on a flying lap, so there isn't any... I forget the word. Obligation. There isn't any obligation for Chris to move if Bongo manages to close the gap up. Nearly half a second up on his time though is Chris McNichol, but gaining time as well on Cafe is Bongo. As I said earlier, not quite enough to push him down yet, but we'll see how this last sector goes. Chris McNichol just ahead is now over half a second ahead of his time. So that could be another 1:40 time set. Is it going to be as good as Cafe? We'll soon see in a minute. Chris McNichol goes over the start finish straight then. Pushes all the way down into P2, but Bongo answers immediately, getting back P2. These two drivers now sit hundreds of seconds apart, with Bongo on a 1:40.5 and Chris on a 1:40.6. Chris is happy with that lap. Grim is now down into P4, very much mixed in among the pros, and I believe Cafe has decided to call it a day there as well. Azure has unfortunately lost out coming into turn 1 and decides to call it there. Hemi Husky is still out at the moment with 27 seconds left to set a lap. He's got to get across the line before that runs out, and he's going to easily do it. Down into his final lap of the session goes the number 101 BMW M6. We look forward to see where he can push up to. Nearly finished this lap, coming through Crocodiles at the moment. Heading on to Cheetah is Josiah in the 81 BMW. Mercedes, how am I doing that? Quickly through Cheater he goes. This is his last lap. We'll see if he can make up some time in the last corner. Danny has stopped there. Currently down in P11. Josiah comes across the start finish line and stays in P7 there. So the only person we've got to make up the time is Bongo. Although it seems like Bongo's had a bit of an off. He's 1.6 seconds down. And yes, he is heading into the pits. Valiant effort from Bongo and Caffey in P1 and 2. Chris McNichol holds P3 and Grim for Silver Class holds P4. And we will wait for those final 2 minutes to cool down before we go to the start finish straight. And I'm going to take a few minutes myself. I'm going to take just a few minutes myself. We'll be right back, everyone.
30 seconds. 20 seconds.
And here we go, back on the grid as the drivers get ready to start their parade lap or formation lap or warm-up lap or whatever you want to call it. The grid is currently being led by Cafe, who we can see there in P1, with P2 just slightly down to the right as they set off for the warm-up lap of Kyalami, Season 4 of the GT3 series, round 3. As you see the rest of the grid follow on in single file, slowly behind. A couple of cars having to patiently wait to get round turn 1. Be very interesting to see how this first lap will go for the grid. Scroll all the way back up here to Cafe, who leads the formation lap. Silver drivers mixed in with the pro drivers there. Obviously we've got Grimm in the 115 Porsche and Kestrel in the 45 Ferrari. Fox not being able to push quite as high in the McLaren at the moment. However, there's an hour race dead ahead of them. Sabre Kitsune, another pro, not quite able to beat some of the silvers. The 523 Nissan. And Jake Hudson, unable to set a lap at all, brings up the rear in P number 41. Head back to the front of the grid now as the cars start to line up in double file as we head past Cheetah Corner. Funny enough, although the cars clip through one another, Cheetah Corner can still catch the cars out. It nearly caught out Ty in there, but I think everybody's made it through relatively safe. So here we go then. Any minute now you'll hear the green light as we go racing for round 3 of the Semi-Fair GT3 Season 4. And there you go, that's green light. All cars are now permitted to go at racing speeds as we head down to turn 1. Bongo nearly gets ahead of Cafe there. All 3 of them head down into turn 1. It's 4 wide somewhere. And Plasma pushes right up there into P12. Cafe gets away really easily. Fox has a bit of a fight with Sabre, but manages to get past easily and possibly take advantage coming up the inside there. He does get ahead of Sabre. A few of the cars have had a bit of a crash at the back there. That is Telephones, who seems to have come into contact with quite a few cars, including Dip and Hoot Wheels there as well. That is extremely unfortunate. Let's have a quick look at what happened there from 15 seconds ago. Nope, 30 seconds ago then. So look, see what happened there. That was quite a way back. So Telephones comes round turn 1 quite easily on the outside. The people there. Okay, he gets it a little bit wrong. Follows everyone through quite nicely down towards Sunset. Oh well, never mind. We'll just have to look at that one later. But nevertheless, back up to P1, and it's Cafe holding the lead. 0.8 seconds, 0.8 second ahead of Cafe, but it's Chris McNichol that's so far set the. No, it's Cafe that's set the fastest time. I don't know what my broadcasting tool's doing there. Joker's moving here to take over Plasma, but Plasma comes down the inside. Turn 1, it's a tight gap between the two of them, but it is Plasma that comes out ahead and locks off that position to Joker, who's now being chased by Hemi Husky in the BMW M6. Hemi Husky looking to maybe make a move. Joker taking a little bit more of an outside line. Hemi moves to go down the outside on Sunset, but decides against it, pulls up on the inside instead, and doesn't quite make it happen as the two cars head into Barbecue. Joker still holding on to that position just about from Hemi Husky, with Grim and Josiah holding on. Although Josiah, oh no, Grim looks like he's going to try and make a cheeky move on Hemi on the inside as this lot head up to the hairpin. Oh, it's very tight indeed. Hemi does go slightly right, and Grim squeezes the Porsche through very easily indeed. Although these two now come side by side, the Porsche's straight line speed doesn't happen. Hemi Husky goes sideways and catches the car, but it's allowed Josiah to take advantage, Snooty to nearly take advantage. Fez Fox is going to get in there as well as he goes side by side with Snooty as they come down onto Cheetah Corner. They both go through cleanly, but it's Snooty that loses out there. He's lost out to Fez, he loses out to Danny in the Aston Martin, and Kestrel looks like he was going to have a bit of a go at it as well, although the straight line speed of these cars may differ. Snooty's going to take a bit of a toe off Danny and see if he can gain that position back as they head down into turn 1 together. Danny goes a little bit wide, Snooty comes up the inside. These two are side by side coming up towards Sunset Corner, and they go into Barbecue. It's very close for these two, but Kestrel pushes along to go 3 wide. This may not be something that's a good idea. Danny moves to the outside of Sunset to get the best line through it. Snooty holds onto the position. Kestrel is blocked off there from taking the position. We come into Barbecue again, and Danny still holds onto that position in the Aston Martin. He gets a bit of a better exit than Snooty and opens up a bit of a gap. Hopefully Snooty can catch up later, but it looks like Kestrel's going to have a bit of a go. Sat just behind them is the 523 of Sabre, who will be looking for these two maybe to have a crash so that he can maybe gain an advantage on it. But it looks for now that Snooty's hold on to the position, but Danny's gone. Danny is absolutely gone, and his next target in line will be Fez, who's currently chasing Josiah and Hemi. Meanwhile, slightly further down the grid, we've got Dolby, who's also trying to chase Sabre for position. Down through Cheetah Corner we go. Everybody gets through safely. Deeds has made a move on Ty and Fox and managed to take the position. Ty and Fox goes wide at Cheetah. Suzuka and Azure get by, and he manages to hold on to the position in time for Zar to catch up, although Zar is very, very close now. Be interesting to see what Zar can do. He's very close indeed. He moves up alongside of Ty and Fox. Ty and Fox is still just ahead of Zar as we watch Zar come down into turn 1 on the inside of Ty, and very good space given between these two. They're still almost side by side. Zar's going to try and push up on the inside, but it doesn't happen. Ty and Fox holds on to that position. Very good fight from these two so far. Slightly further down the grid, we've got Skylar Vixen chasing Eris for P25. They both come down into sunset together. Eris pulling ever so slightly away from Skylar, wondering what's going on there. Seems that Ty and Fox has lost it. Oh no, Ty and Fox has lost it and had a big crash. And that is unfortunately Ty and Fox done with that race. Back to these two then, we've got Eris and Menos and Zar currently fighting for position, but Eris is there as well. Zar runs wide, both Menos and Eris take advantage of that. Zar manages to slot in just before Skylar can catch that position as well. So here we go then. Zar's got more work to do as he chases Eris, who now chases Menos for P23. Great job from Eris so far there. She's moved up one position. Unfortunately, it's Skylar that's still not able to gain. Although Skylar is getting closer and closer as we go along. It seems like someone else may have had an off, and we've lost another one as well. So that leaves Renee in P39 as the back there. Telephones holds P38 currently. It seems like Wolfen has had a bit of a bash. He's currently in P37. Bit of a scuff must have gone on here, or maybe Wolfen lost it slightly, but Wolfen is going to push on. Denak runs extremely wide there and allows Ruby Kitsune to gain a position, although in straight line speed we have that Jaguar. The Jaguar is going to do very well on this straight line, but Ruby is up alongside. Down into turn 1 they come. It's Ruby that's just ahead of the Jaguar, but allows for the space as well. These two side by side and Ruby just squeezes through. Fantastic racing from Ruby Kitsune. Wolfen looking to take a bit of an advantage as well, but doesn't quite close the gap enough. Telephone's holding on to P38 with Renee in P39. Just up there is Seffi, who's just taken P28 off of Hoot Wheels. It seems like Hoot Wheels has taken a bit of a bash on the front of that Mercedes, so I'm wondering if that's affected our performance as well. Needless to say though, Seffi's also taken a bit of a bash. I think it's safe to say these AM drivers don't like, certainly don't like their cars to be in tip-top condition. They love the challenge of having a harder car to drive, and this is certainly going to be it unless one of them decides to pit. ZZ comes shooting into the screen there in P30. He'll be doing his absolute best to try and catch these two fighting cars. And just behind them as well sits Jinfulf in P31 and Dip now back up to P32 in that Jaguar, who's being chased by JPEG in P33. The JPEG very close indeed, but as obviously we saw in the previous lap, we've got the Jaguar who's got that straight line speed, especially over the Porsche, but the Porsche has the cornering power, so we'll soon see what happens coming down into turn 1. JPEG looks like he's going to go for the inside, but doesn't quite make up the gap. Though he's got plenty of corners to do it in now, as they both go a little bit wide to get the best out of that corner there. And Hoot, oh, I believe Hoot just overtook Seffi and ZZ there. I wonder how that happened, but I imagine ZZ won't be overly pleased with that as he continues to chase. Seffi's now down in P30, very close to Jin. It's Hoot Wheels that loses it again. Losing positions to Seffi, Jin, Dip, JPEG. And Slowburn is there, closing up the gap as best she can. In the Jaguar. She's got every chance to do it. She's gaining constantly on Hoot Wheels. But needless to say, Dip, Jin and Seffi are all in a fight for P30 at the moment, or P29, excuse me. Being chased very closely by JPEG as well, who's also beginning to come under attack from Hoot Wheels as they head down towards Crocodile into Cheetah Corner. Jinfulf has ran wide there, but does manage to keep the position from JPEG. They head through Cheetah. So far so good. Hoot looked like they went a little bit sideways there, but they've held on to that Mercedes. That Mercedes is absolutely battered from a previous instant, it looks like. We've got Snowdog now, she's caught all the way up to Hoot. Dip overtakes Seffi for P29. Can Snowdog get that straight line speed over Hoot? She can't quite yet. She's also got the other Jaguar of Denak following very close behind, who pushes to get side by side, but it doesn't quite happen. The two Jaguars, the two old time cars going at it now, coming into corner of which name I forget, but the next corner after that is Sunset. Who's managed to pull a gap here as well, so who's beginning to do well considering the condition of the car that she's driving. Snowbird still doing his best to keep ahead of her best, excuse me, to keep ahead of Denak. But Denak is closing the gap ever so slightly, bit by bit. That straight line speed is coming into handy. Listen to these two Jaguars go. It's almost going to be an inside move from Denak, but not quite yet. There's still plenty to go. Denak gets almost a better exit, but again just doesn't make it happen. That'll be frustrating for him as Snowbird continues to keep the gap open and try her absolute best as these two head down mineshaft into Crocodile that we see here, and towards Cheetah. Hoot looks like she's going for a move on JPEG, Fox. This could all end in tears if it goes wrong, but it doesn't. Hoot's now right behind JPEG, Fox. In there, Denak looks like he's moving around the outside of Snowbird, but again, still doesn't make it through. These cars now come into a drag race, practically side by side with one another. Side by side with one another as they go down to turn 1 through the slight kink on the straight, and down into turn 1 they go. It will be Denak up on the inside as Snowbird breaks earlier to take the corner. Fantastic position take from Denak with Snowbird very close behind. We'll come back to that one a little bit later. Dip has moved to overtake ZZ. Meanwhile, in the back there, you can see Hoot Wheels struggling to gain positions. We've got JPEG Fox flashing for some reason or another as we all head down into Sunset. JPEG Fox manages to somehow randomly pull off, but nevertheless, that's one less car for Hoot Wheels to worry about. She again goes a little bit wide, but still manages to keep close to Jinfilf. Is doing well to keep hold of P31 so far. And meanwhile, all this time, we have Seffi, who's just ahead of them, but has made a slight mistake. There was quite a bit of a gap between those two. But maybe Seffi's made a slight mistake then as these cars continue to catch up to one another. Telephones has decided to call it a day from P39. A little bit more of a mistake from Seffi there, but as we can see, she's opened up a decent gap to Jin, who's now got Denak and Hoot Wheels very much on his tail. There it will be the straight line speed of the Jaguar that will work out in Denak's favour, pulling up right alongside Hoot Wheels here as they head down to turn 1. Is it going to be a turn 1 dive from Denak? It is a turn 1 dive from Denak. And look at that, straight through goes Denak, but Hoot Wheels answers back, comes along side by side, takes the position immediately off Denak, denies Denak that P32, and holds on there. What a phenomenal bit of racing from Hoot Wheels to hold on to that position. And it's Snowbird once again behind Denak, who's again constantly catching up there. We've got JPEG Fox, who's now behind Snowbird, Denak and Hoot Wheels. Oh, there goes Hoot Wheels on Jinfilf, slight mistake there. Denak and Jinfilf come side by side with one another, and it's Denak that'll get the better position. I wonder what went wrong with Jinfilf there, but hopefully it looks like it's going to happen. Snowbird is closing that gap in the 89 Jaguar. all the time in the world to play with. There's 44 minutes left of this race, and what a race we're seeing from the AM class currently. Oh, bit wide there from Slowbird. JPEG's going to look to try and take advantage again. Cleanly through Cheetah, all the cars come, and it seems like Hoot Wheels and Denak are gone side by side with one another. That's the wrong button, and Denak has again taken the position from Hoot Wheels as they come down into turn 1. See what's going on here. Denak moves to take the corner very quickly, catching up to Sefi a little bit more. Hoot Wheels very close behind, and Telephones unfortunately receives a stop go 30 for speeding in the pit lane. That is not a penalty you want to be having. Denak moves now to overtake Sefi coming down into Sunset. He did look at the outside, he's now looking at the inside. There's a little bit of contact from the two cars there, but Sefi manages to keep the position, and Hoot Wheels has a bit of a bonk into the back of Denak, but nevertheless all three cars are still going. Denak still holds the position, but that Mercedes is not giving up anytime soon. Sefi all the while has now two cars to hold off as these two go head to head with one another coming into Mineshaft just after this hairpin now. Denak again very much got a car to be dealing with. Hoot is not giving up. She's moving towards the inside there. It doesn't quite happen as they go through Crocodiles. And no, there's contact between Hoot and Denak. And Hoot carries on. Hoot just carries on. What is going on there? Hoot carries on to chase Sefi. And around the outside of Sefi she looks to go, but it doesn't happen. Jinfilf comes now closer than ever to getting Hoot Wheels. What's going on there? Why would you hit a car and carry on? Anyway, Hoot Wheels goes to make the outside of that corner work, but Sefi's holding the inside line, bravely holding the inside line, allowing Jinfilf to catch up to Hoot Wheels now as well. Meanwhile, Denak has made up a few positions. Hoot Wheels runs wide, and Denak and Hoot Wheels come side by side, with Denak getting through. Again, JPEG Fox not happy with probably the rejoin there. She did come out quite abruptly onto the grid, but needless to say, JPEG is going to have to bide his time and hold for Slowbird, who is closing the gap still. What a race we're seeing from these drivers now. Sefi doing very well to defend off. Hoot Wheels has run wide again. JPEG Fox gets past. Slowbird now gets past. It's allowed Wolfen to close up the gap on them a little bit as well. But needless to say, Slowbird and JPEG are now beginning to go at it. Obviously JPEG is quicker out the corners, but Slowbird has that straight line speed. Jinfilf goes really wide, and unfortunately loses the positions there to JPEG and Denak, allowing Slowbird to chase and close up the position. Around the inside they go. Jinfilf goes wide again, coming through Cheetah. Hoot Wheels now makes up the position. Wolfen looks like he could make a position up as well. Hoot Wheels now on Slowbird as they both come down the start-finish straight. Pit window now opens. This is going to be an interesting one to see who pits first and when. Meanwhile, we'll come back to this slot later, maybe. Hoot Wheels goes down the inside of Slowbird, but Slowbird isn't giving up easily. Needless to say, Hoot Wheels has got through. Back up the front of the grid, place we've not been in quite a while so far, is Caffey, who still holds P1, with Bongo chasing in the Ferrari there. And just behind them is Chris McNichol, followed closely by Plasma. And this will be interesting to see, though, as some of the drivers have decided to pit now. Fez Fox from P18 pits, Azure from P21 pits, and a couple of the AM drivers have pitted as well, to see if maybe they can get a jump on these two. But Bongo and Caffey don't seem to be bothered by that at the moment, as these two go toe to toe together. Car number 96, it's Jinfulf that's spun out again. He's going to have to wait for a lot of traffic to come past him. That's a rejoin. A rejoin, safe to say. However, he's now going to make way for faster drivers. These two are still holding the same position with one another. Caffey holds P1 0.200 away from Bongo, chasing in the Ferrari. They're coming up to the pits now. Just after Cheetah Corner, which is here, smoothly both of them go through Cheetah. Is it going to be a pit stop yet? It's not going to quite be a pit stop yet. Renee pits as well to see if she can get a jump on some people, and these two are still going to go hard at it. Ruby unfortunately is left with a stop-go 30, probably for speeding in the pit lane, coming into the pit lane I imagine. But needless to say, we've got 4 cars in the pits currently. Plasma pits as well from the top positions. We've got Jinfulf there. Dip is also pitted, probably to fix damage. Geek has also pitted as well. Ruby Kitsune is in P38, but now having to move for lap traffic. Caffey comes through. Bongo comes through, being chased very closely by Chris McNichol, going down at the sunset. Caffey will be enjoying this moment now. With these two fighting, it's just allowing him to slowly but surely continue to increase the gap. See what's going on slightly further up the grid, down the grid, excuse me. JPEG has managed to move to overtake Hoot Wheels. Hoot Wheels has got the straight line speed over the Porsche though. They both come to chase Denak as we come through Crocodiles. Through Cheetah we go. Denak comes into pit. Will anyone respond? No, they won't respond. So if they want to keep ahead of Denak now, they're probably going to have to pit next lap maybe. But it's given Slowbird a position anyway. She's now up to P31. Telephones is out the grid, but will very soon be back in the grid, serving a stop-go 30. Probably again for speeding in the pits. Oof, some people just don't learn. Hoot Wheels gets round the outside of JPEG Fox. And now pushes on to... Oh, a bit of a loss from JPEG there on Barbecue. It's allowed Slowbird to come up side by side with him, although Slowbird now gets the advantage going down into the sunset. And it leaves Hoot Wheels to push on and try and take position 28 from Seffi. Seffi's done very well so far to hold on to P28. Danak still sat in the pits. That's quite a long pit stop for him. He must be fixing damage as well. Seffi and Hoot and Slowbird are still yet to make the pits. I wonder if Danak can get away before these guys stop. He can get away, but now the question is, can he now make up the lap to overtake these two should they come into the pits? Along goes Hoot Wheels on the inside of Seffi. As they come onto the Crocodile's corner, Seffi still holds the position, defending that inside line very well indeed. JPEG's managed to come up slightly on the inside of Slowbird, but Slowbird keeps it. Through Cheetah Corner they all go. Wolfen has managed to make positions up as well. And JPEG Fox decides to pit from P32. Wonder if he can get a jump on these. There goes Hoot Wheels down the inside of Seffi on the start-finish straight, leading into turn 1 now. The Seffi's not going to give up easily though. She may go for a switchback. Almost works out as Hoot runs slightly wide. Seffi's not lost much time there to hoot. Oh, but loses a little bit of time there, it seems. The Snowbird again in P30, constantly having cars that she may be able to catch up to. Let's have a look and see at the moment where Denak is. Denak's in front of Jinfulf. Now, interestingly enough, the only position he could probably gain from that at the moment is JPEG, who's currently sat in the pits. Through Cheetah comes Denak. Yep, and he does get past JPEG Fox. That'll be frustrating for JPEG. No doubt JPEG's probably having to pit to fix some damage, as we saw him veer off at sunset earlier in the race. And that is quite stressfully enough for JPEG, him out of the pits now. So he's got a bit of work to do there, but we know Denak's pitted now. However, Dip has also pitted. Let's see how these lot are getting on. Oh! Something is going on there, but Snowbird has lost a lot of positions as she moves over to let both Cafe and Bongo go, who are still hard battling one another for this, but Hoot Wheels still holds the position over Seffi. And what a lap she's pulled now as well over Seffi. The Seffi's had to move over obviously to let traffic through, and she's now being challenged by Wolfen. If Wolfen... Nope, excuse me, Snowbird, not Wolfen. Wolfen's in the pits. But Snowbird now, again, looking to try and chase another car. Hoot Wheels has lost it coming down Sunset. She looks to rejoin the track. Snowbird making up a position there. Seffi also making up a position there, and away Hoot Wheels goes to again try and chase to make up those positions. Telephones is now in the pits again after serving a stop-go penalty. Wolfen is still in the pits. That was a long pit stop for him. We'll see if any of these two drivers look to pit now. Snowbird goes round the outside of Seffi. It doesn't quite happen. Great effort from Snowbird as these two come down Mineshaft towards Crocodile. Be interesting to see if any of these two look to pit. Seffi's got a lot of work to do still, as you can see. Snowbird is very, very close behind indeed. Hoot Wheels has managed to make the time up as well, but not quite enough time to catch these two. Through Cheetah Corner they go very smoothly indeed, and still none of them move to pit. There's 11 minutes left of the pit window. And unfortunately it seems Ruby is going backwards through that chicane after turn 1. Hopefully she can pick a gap and get going again. She can indeed, but she will have to move for the leaders. Nevertheless, Cafe and Bongo, look at these two, still bumper to bumper. It's like nothing's happened so far. Paula comes into the pits from P14. They get easily round Ruby Kitsune Fox. Cafe still holding ahead of Bongo by 0.03 of a second, and Joker's 10 seconds off them and closing the gap a little bit. Neither of these two have pitted yet. These two very, very quick drivers. Cafe really representing the Porsche here and showing just exactly what it can do. Slightly further down the grid we've got Eris here. Eris out in P15. Car number 141 being chased by Skylar and also Zar. Great position for Eris to be in. There's not really much ahead of it at the moment. So all the space in the world to just concentrate on driving the track. Meanwhile, you've got just behind Eris, Skylar and Zar, who are beginning to get into it with one another. So Eris, nothing to worry about here. All it needs to worry about is just driving clean laps at the moment whilst these two go toe to toe with one another. That was a very quick close-up from Zar on the Honda NSX. Got Chris McNichol there down in P18 who will be watching to see what's going on between these three. It seems at the moment Czar might have made a bit of a mistake. You know, I think he has. Chris has pushed up to take the gap. Oh, it's not quite happening there. So now Skylar and Eris begin to battle one another. Grim, Dolby and Blade Wolf and Danny also pit as well, allowing Saber and Joker to get through. Unfortunately, Telephones as well has been offered, but has not been offered. He's been issued a DSQ. That's an absolute shame. And while saying that, Chris McNichol has got through past Czar. Czar and Skylar both come into the pits. Bit of a flash from Czar there, but I have absolutely no blame to give Skylar for slowing down well before the pit entry line to make sure you get the pit entry correct here. It is not fun to be given a stop go 30 or a DSQ on this track, so commendable effort from Skylar there to really make the effort to slow down, and that's what you want to see. And in turn, it has forced Czar to slow down. He wasn't happy with it, but unfortunately that's racing. Meanwhile, up in P11, now being chased by Chris McNichol, is Eris. So Eris has still yet to make a pit stop, along with Menos, Czar and Nate just in front of it. Chris is moving to get round as we head down. It's past sunset, so it's barbecue. Chris gets smoothly by Eris. Next person behind Eris is Jasper for P13. Jasper is still yet to serve his pit stop, so there's a lot that can happen at the moment. Some people drawing it quite close to the time for pit stops. Hoop Wheels is in the pits. She's in P28 now. Slowbird has managed to take the position. And from what I see as well, looking at these two drivers, Chris McNichol still holds the fastest lap of the race so far. Through Cheetah, these two come. Still no pits from them, and it looks like we've got Nate pitting there. So Nate, oh sorry, that was Menos, excuse me, Menos in the pits. We also have Josiah, Snooty, Saber, Hemi, all in the pits as well. That's allowed for Jasper to make up positions all the way up to P6, but he's still got a pit stop to go. We've got a spin-off from Rene in car number 521. Oh, be careful, that's a good idea. Azar comes absolutely flying through, followed by Nate. Oh, that was, oh sorry, that was Wolfen. And a brown trouser moment would have been had by Wolfen there. That would have, oof. Oh dear. Nevertheless, Rene gets going again. She has served her pit stop. Caffey has now decided to pit from P1. Nate is in P2. Bongo's all the way down in P3. But that is because Bongo is already pitted, so Bongo is now on mineshaft. And Caffey is still here in the pits. Car number 28, he's on Crocodile Corner at the moment, making his way towards Cheetah. Caffey will be desperately watching this time count down. Through Cheetah, Bongo comes for P28, P3 overall. Nate pits from P2. Caffey gets going again, just as Bongo gets onto the start-finish straight, and it's Caffey that comes out, well ahead of Bongo still. What a fantastic planned pit stop from Caffey. Very frustrating for Bongo indeed. These two again will now push up to race one another. We'll come back to them a little bit later on in the race, but great timing pit stop from Caffey. Very unfortunate for Bongo, but nevertheless, these two back in P1 and 2. Jasper now pits in P18. Sorry, Jasper now pits from P18, drops to P24 there after his pit stop. Relatively clean pit stop. Skyler on the start-finish straight might be able to take advantage of it. But possibly not though. Jasper already on turn 1, Skyler on the start-finish straight. Slightly further down the grid we've got Czar now in his own little race. Dip in car number 38, P27. Not being contested by anyone just yet. Although Denak is now pushing to try his hardest to catch these cars up. He will be having to move for blue flags, so as Sabre tries to push past. Complete with Plasma, and these two are battling for position now. So at some point Denak is going to have to get out the way for these two. Obviously it is a gentleman's agreement for these cars to move out the way, but at the same time these two cars are battling. Denak moves out on the start-finish straight, allowing Plasma and Sabre easily to get through, and allowing these two to go racing once again. About a spin-off from Zizi it seems. Headed up to Mineshaft, I believe it is. No, it's not. It's the last turn. Nevertheless, he's got it going again. That car is properly battered. Eris now pits from P22 in the last two. Oh, sorry, it's already been in and completed its pit stop. 2 minutes left on the clock. 4 pit entries, so done in good time there. Menos has moved up to take P22 off Eris and can now move to push on and chase Suzuka in P21. Not been to see Suzuka all race since we actually spoke to him in the practice session. Down in P21 at the moment for Silver Class. Car looks relatively unscathed as well, but then again he has just had a pit stop at some point within these 20 minutes, so probably positions lost there. But needless to say, he's chasing Deeds. He's slowly but surely building up time on Deeds and gaining time on Menos, so we'll have a look at him through the last 20 minutes of the race to see if he can make up any positions on these two. Pitting from P28, now in P36 is Hoot Wheels. Hoot Wheels will be happy because she's now got a fully built, complete working car that will be very responsive to drive. Skylar Bixon getting through there. She's P25 and chasing Jasper, who's 7 seconds ahead of her at the moment. Let's see if we've got any other battles going on. Azure Goat's beginning to catch up to Kestrel for P17, and behind them is Paula, who seems to be fighting with Blade Wolf, who's also fighting with Nate. So these three cars are beginning to get into it. Nate holding on to P14 at the moment. And Blade Wolf giving chase as they come down into Sunset onto Barbecue. Bit slow from Blade Wolf going through Barbecue. It's allowed Paula to catch up a little bit. They're doing very well to hold the position, but needless to say, Paula closing the gap on Blade Wolf. Closer and closer Paula seems to be getting as well in the Audi.
Pit window is closing now.
Pit window closes there, last 20 minutes of the race. We can see there Paula is not giving up anytime soon on Blade Wolf. These two KM drivers going at it head to head. Eris seems to have lost it. No, there's a slight yellow flag coming up for Eris there, but I don't know what's going on. Yeah, it can't be much anyway. Anka seems to have lost it a little bit though, probably after Cheetah claiming its victim. JPEG, Fox and Slowbird are going at it again for P30. back to these two. Blade Wolf and Paula also being chased, or followed, excuse me, by Geeg in the number 41. He's a lap down on these three drivers though. Paula running a little bit wide there, but not quite wide enough. Closes the gap up again coming through Barbecue. Check up on these drivers in a bit, but Nate currently ahead holding P14. Current highest travelling M-Class driver at the moment is this lad here, Jasper, Bluey's other driver, one of Bluey's teammates, who will be looking to actually lap Wolfen and at some point Sefi as well, but he'll be chasing Eris, who's currently nearly 3 seconds ahead of him, so plenty of work to be done. About 4 seconds behind him is Skylar, who's... Oh, Castro's had a bit of a spin. Seems like Cheetah might have claimed a victim. There. It's allowed Azure to close up the gap. Nope, sorry, it's allowed Anka to close up the gap a little bit more, but Castro does get it going again. Menos has had a bit of a spin coming off of Cheetah. Zizi looking to be a little bit cheeky and unlap himself in the Porsche as well. Not sure Menos will allow that to happen. Needless to say, he gets away again. So Cheetah beginning to claim its victims in the late stages of this race. JPEG and Slowbird seem to be going at it. Still, these two in a world of their own. Only driver that they've got to worry about catching them is Menos in P22, but he's still 8 seconds off roughly, and these two can concentrate on just nothing ahead of them, apart from Geek, who's the next position to catch, but also not much behind them now at the moment, so they can really focus on going racing with one another. As Slowbird goes a little bit wide there and allows JPEG Fox to close the gap. JPEG Fox looks to go up the inside, and he does make it happen and squeezes through, coming onto Mineshaft there. That's a phenomenal overtake from JPEG as these two come down towards Crocodiles. On towards Crocodiles then, and down onto Cheetah as well before coming onto the start-finish straight. And what we know here is JPEG will need to open up a decent gap from Slowbird in order to get away from that straight line speed of the Jaguar. So we'll see just what's going on between these two here. Seems like JPEG Fox did manage to open up the gap sufficiently enough to keep Slowbird behind him. Comes down into turn 1 now. Slowbird is 500ths off him. Obviously taking that corner a little bit wider, just the steering capacity of the Jaguar not quite allowing Slowbird to go as fast as she wanted through that corner, and it's JPEG that's got away very cleanly indeed. Hey Sarah, welcome to the stream. I'd have thought I'd have seen you on the track tonight. Telephones received a DSQ for speeding in the pit lane twice. So off JPEG goes then, now nearly a second ahead of Slowbird. Currently in P30. And now Slowbird has plenty of time to catch up to JPEG. 14 and a half minutes left of the race. A few people have moved down positions there. I don't know what's happened there, but Josiah seems to have jumped up positions, and a lot of people seem to have moved down positions. That's probably just everything going a little bit trippy with my broadcasting tool. Anyway, Rena's in the pits. Don't know why Rennie's in the pits, but she's in the pits. P37 she is now. With Ruby about 52 seconds off, so Rennie comfortably in P37. Meanwhile, back up here, Blade Wolf is still managing to hold Paula off in this battle for P15 at the moment. And Nate very easily pulling a gap of 2.2 seconds. Although he now has traffic to deal with. It'll be interesting to see how he gets through this traffic, because these two are also fighting for position. That's Denak on Zip at the moment. Two Jaguars going at it as we come down onto Mineshaft. Denak moves to look at the inside, but it doesn't quite happen. Nate giving a friendly flash there. Denak moves to get out the way and does so very cleanly. It's Dip's turn to get out the way now. He is indicating left as we go down into Crocodiles. There's a bit of a wiggle there from Dip. Dip goes nice and wide to let Nate through. Manages to get in there just before Denak can take advantage of that position. Very good racing from Denak there. But just behind them, they're going to have to move again now as Paula and Blade get closer and closer to them. Two cars are side by side with one another. They're going to have to get through. Blade manages to just about squeeze up the inside of Denak. So Blade gets through safely. It's now Paula's turn to get through. She's flashing to get past him as quick as possible. Denak pulls off the racing line. That has unfortunately allowed Blade to open up the gap even more. Dip's the next person that's going to have to move for these two as they fight for position. Check on the two leaders back up the grid. It's Caffey leading Bongo with Chris McNichol 10 seconds off roughly. Phenomenal race so far from these two. Very clean between the two of them. Very good racing. Indeed, that Ferrari just not being able to catch up to the Porsche. 11 minutes left. All Caffey has to do is hold on for 11 minutes. Bongo has got 11 minutes to take that silver medal for round 3 off of Caffey. We'll check back on these two later to see if it can happen. Slightly further down the grid, we've got Danny and Dolby very close racing together. And behind them, you've got Grim, Josiah and Plasma all chasing each other for position. Josiah looking to make a bit of a move, but Grim not allowing through. Plasma almost, he does in fact take the advantage of Josiah. Very cleanly moving up the inside of the Mercedes. Now moves on to chase Grim for P9. And just up ahead, we've got the battle for P7 going on between Danny and Dolby. As Danny comes down into the sunset, moves a little bit wide. Dolby gets cleanly through as both drivers come up to barbecue. Just slightly ahead of them, you've got Fez Fox chasing Snooty as well for P5. Snooty managing to hold off the gap in the number 48 BMW M4. Fez Fox not quite able to close the gap just yet, but he is only 700 seconds away. 700ths of a second away, excuse me. There's 10 minutes left of this race to go. It could get tense. And meanwhile, just slightly back up, just slightly back on the grid, Paul has managed to close the gap phenomenally to Blade Wolf to just 0.5 of a second, half a second between Paula and Blade Wolf now as they come down into Crocodiles. Blade Wolf doing very well to hold on to P15. Nate well ahead in P14. Through Cheetah they come. Dip and Denak, the two Jaguars, are getting closer and closer to one another as well. Paula getting right up behind Blade Wolf there as they come on to the start-finish straight. And off they go down to turn 1 again. It doesn't quite happen for Paula, but needless to say, she did have a look at the inside to see if she could go that way, but it didn't quite happen. So here we go again for another lap where Paula has now got to do all the chasing again. Meanwhile, Sabre and Joker are having a bit of a battle for P10. Sabre holds on to the outside, goes a little bit wide there. It's still Sabre holding on to P10. Joker squeezes up the inside in the Honda NSX and round the outside in that corner there as they come onto Mineshaft. However, Sabre still holding on very closely to Joker. Less than half a second between the two of them. Sabre's not giving up anytime soon. Joker holds on to P10 for now as they head down into Crocodile. Being chased by Plasma and Josiah as well. So, wonder if Plasma can close up the gap. Bit of a clip on Cheetah there from Sabre, but he manages to hold on pretty well. But needless to say, Joker has opened up the gap and is now getting away from Sabre. Down in P17 there we've got Azure in a bit of a race on his own. He's got two cars that need to move out the way from him, although not anytime soon. Talking about being in a race of his own, Nate here comes into Sector 1, heading up towards Sunset. Josiah Whiskey is 5.7 seconds ahead of him, so that's his next target. Any other close racing going on? We've got Snooty and Fez. Here we go. Fez goes up the inside of Snooty, maybe. He does make it happen up the inside. It doesn't quite happen up the inside. Nothing happened up the inside. From Snooty leading Fez now down through Crocodile onto Cheetah. Fez looking at any possible way to get past Snooty. That car is extremely wide. Here we go then, both of them come up to Cheetah. Smoothly through Cheetah they go. And on to the last turn. Snooty defending the inside line and the outside line there as he come onto the start-finish straight. Fezfox still not able to get the overspeed to get past Snooty, but we have a whole straight to do it in with the McLaren and the BMW. And it's looking like something's going to happen. Fezfox moves to try for the outside. It doesn't happen round the outside, so Snooty moves again. Oh, these two come very close together. And it's Fezfox that gains the advantage for now, and there's contact between Snooty and Fezfox as they come together. Tense moments there. Snooty's continuing on. In P5 there. I wonder what Fezfox will be thinking about that. But he's now got Danny beginning to challenge him for P6. Danny will be absolutely loving this at the moment. Sat up in P7 now, getting the chance to get closer and closer to Fezfox. Plasma seems to have lost it as well, coming down Sunset. That's a shame for Plasma, but he's now got Nate beginning to close the gap ever so surely. Fez here is now chasing Snooty for position, who's now got Danny to worry about as well. Looks to possibly go up the inside of Crocodile. He makes the move. He does get up the inside of Snooty for Crocodile. The two of them head towards Cheetah. Snooty's now got Danny to worry about coming through Cheetah as Fez gets cleanly away. And as we see it at the moment, still nothing changed from the top two. Cafe leads from Bongo, who leads from Chris McNichol. P4 is Hemi Husky in number 101 BMW. So we can can see it here. Fez beginning to build a slight gap from Snooty, but Snooty's not got a lot of breathing space at the moment from Danny in car number 44. As they all head down into the sunset. Closer and closer gets Danny to Snooty. Closer and closer to Fez. Get Snooty. I said that all wrong there. Definitely 100% wrong. Nevertheless, though, these three cars are beginning to get into it. They all know by now there's 3 minutes left of the race. Three minutes left of the race. We'll see what happens between these three towards the closing stages. It looks like Fez has managed to hold on for now. On that one, it will be Danny and Snooty that move to fight for the final position of P6. Although, meanwhile, it seems the Eris has caught up to Menos for P22. And just behind Eris is Skylar Vixen in P24, about 7 seconds off. See what happens there, but these two, with 2.5 minutes left, are beginning to go toe-to-toe with one another. It's Eris on Menos. Look at how big that Lexus is compared to the McLaren. We'll see what Eris can make the Lexus do as the two of them head down mineshaft towards Crocodile together. Eris getting closer and closer to that McLaren. Is it going to go for an undercut? Not quite, because Menos is still holding ahead. Cheetah is the next corner for the two of them. Cleanly, the two of them both go through. It's now down to the final turn. It's Eris bumper to bumper with Menos as they get on the start-finish straight. Bit of a wiggle from Eris there, but it manages to maintain control of the Lexus and continue chasing Menos on down the start-finish straight. 1.5 minutes left of the race, and at some point soon,
Alright, man, the leader is on the final lap.
it's now announced that the leader is on the final lap, so everyone now will be trying their best to push hard for this one. So let's go down here. Menos managed to hold the position. Or retake the position. We're not sure there, but Eris is now 3.4 seconds off Menos, so unfortunately there's not a race there. Paula's still not been able to catch up to Blade for P15. Further up, oh, we've got Paula who's spun off and lost it completely. Oh, Azure goes shooting past. In a yellow flag situation as we head on to turn 1. And that was for position now, so the next up to take Paula, if he can make it happen, is Anka. 0.9 seconds off, racing for P17 now. 20 seconds left of the race, and we can see here that now Caffey is beginning to get caught up in traffic. He squeezes past Skylar. It's now going to have to be Bongo's turn, but I'm pretty sure Caffey has now resigned to the fact that this is his race. And here he comes down past Cheetah, down into the last turn. And across the start-finish line comes Caffey to take P1 for semi-first GT3 Season 4 Round 3 at Kyalami. Followed very closely and valiantly by Bongo in the number 2 P2 number 28 Ferrari. Phenomenal racing from both Caffey and Bongo, very clean indeed. Chris brings it home in P3, Hemi Husky brings it home in P4. Fez Fox holds Snooty off to take P5, and Snooty just about holds Danny off to take P6, 7. Dolby takes P8, Grim takes P9. Joker comes across the start-finish line to take the final top 10. Saber takes P11, Josiah takes P12, and Plasma manages P13. Nate brings it home in P14. Blade Wolf manages to hold off Paula in P15. And Anka doesn't quite manage to get Paula. He'll finish in P17. With a lot of drivers now stopped on the track, the positions are beginning to screw up slowly but surely. But nevertheless, P1 is Cafe. And P2 there is Bongo. All the drivers come round very nice, close together for a parade lap there. And that is your season 3. So, some very good racing seen tonight. All the drivers come round very nice, close. Very good racing seen tonight from all the drivers involved. And that is 100% a fantastic stream from me. I'm glad that it went so well for everyone. Hopefully you have all enjoyed this stream as well. It's been a very what's it called? It's been a very active race. A lot of racing going on between a lot of the classes in different bits of the grid, which is what we like to see. One more final fantastic well done to Cafe and Bongo, P1 and 2 today. Hopefully they can bring it on for P4, which I believe, round 4, which I believe is Imola next week. So having said that, if this is the first time you're watching us, please follow on Twitter at Simufer. And if you want to get involved, please by all means visit the Discord. Sign up to the season and come and race with us. But nevertheless, thank you very much all for watching tonight. Have a good night, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye. If you want to get involved, please by all means visit the Discord. Sign up to the season and come and race with us. But nevertheless, thank you very much all for watching tonight. Have a good night, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye. If you want to get involved, please by all means visit the Discord.